So we're changing our show structure just a little bit. So instead of jumping from topic to topic, we figured it'd be better just to pick one topic and just hit it from all angles here. So for this week's episode, we're gonna talk about something that's affecting all of us. Like we all have some type of experience with this topic, right? Mm-hmm. So in the last year or so, well, full disclosure, I've been living with my girlfriend since, 2020 now?
Dun, dun, dun.
2012. So that's a pretty damn long time.
Sorry, lady. This boy's off the market.
About to say, sorry to break the hearts out there.
Dang,
I didn't know. It's like,
yes.
long time, so.
Y'all ain't gotta do them like that.
About to say,
Just chill.
And that usually don't sound that long until you hear a nigga like verbalize that joint. You like, yo, 8 years?
8 years, man.
That's a long time.
8 years, that's all I know, basically.
That's love, right?
Pushing a decade.
Yeah.
Dang, bro.
So, and that's like an important thing. I feel like as a culture, we put a lot of precedent and just importance on, moving in. And, these two out here just made a scene about it. But, I mean, they be getting leaked. I mean, you've been, shit. Oh, what? Go ahead.
Where you at? What was said?
I'm gonna be ashamed.
You what you said? Alright, so, I've been living on and off with my girlfriend for about, a year.
Oh my God!
Yeah. But nah, currently.
Sorry, I reacted slow. Oh my God! There we go.
How could you say that?
But for the past couple months, we've been together, and it's cool. You know what I'm saying? We're going on experiences.
Yeah, well, we're gonna wait, but because
I dive right in.
yeah, because
I got some things on my chest.
the reason why that we're in this beautiful, new, humble abode here in the Ville, because our good brother here, Clark Kent, just moved in with his girlfriend, and I think you can lead us off here and just tell us about what your experience here. And
In my dyslexic past, I used to say this humble Adobe.
Humble Adobe. Like the PDFs?
Yeah.
Like those PDFs?
PDFs and the little things that the Native Americans lived
Adobe readers?
Adobe Reader 7, the acrobats.
Shout out to Adobe.
But yeah, so
Sponsor us, please.
So Clark Kent, we all have our experience. So what we want to do in this episode is just talk about our experience. I know a lot of guys, especially in our age range, you're out of college, you're in the workforce. Basically, you're a human right now. You're a normal human in the system right now.
Right.
So if you're in a relationship of any type of length, more so than just a fling, that question is gonna come up soon. So we want to talk about our experiences.
Sometimes it comes up in flings.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Okay, and sometimes it can. It's a good ass point, right? Depending on what somebody's looking for in a relationship. So
What are we doing after this?
Exactly.
Right.
I'm getting ice cream.
I'm
leaving.
So we're gonna give you our experiences, pros and cons,
My mom, little Chucky. My mom.
and maybe we can help help somebody out there listening. If it's right for them. Or
Nervous about that stuff.
So Clark Kent, lead us off there, kid.
So yeah, man, let me just get some background. My girlfriend and I have been dating for some time as well. And we have reached that point. We were living separately at first. I was in school pursuing my master's, and she was looking to move out of her parents' house. So she got this house, and it came to the point where are we gonna move in together? What's the timeline and whatever have you? And also keep in mind, and this is probably the same for a lot of people. A lot of people were raised where you have to get married before you move in with somebody. A lot of people's parents kind of.
I'm glad you brought that.
That's
up.
I didn't even think the critical point in it.
So how does everybody's parents feel about that? All right. So how would your parents feel about that?
So first, my parents are kind of like the unicorn in that situation because they didn't live. They lived together before they got married. They had me before they were married. Full disclosure. But they're still happily married.
You know what? Hold on.
They're still happily married.
Because I feel like one of you niggas have called me a bastard before. Because my mom
wasn't me.
One of you niggas have said that to me.
All right,
My parents was married.
For disclosure.
You bastard.
I
don't matter.
bastards before me.
Shout out to my fellow bastards. It's
No,
okay.
no.
Wear with pride.
I
Jon Snow was a
call them
bastard.
devils.
There's a lot of great bastards. Don't be ashamed.
Plenty of great bastards out here.
Yeah, so
Not a bad word no more.
Dumb bastard.
It's 2020.
it's not a bad word.
It's
Especially when you had two good parents, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
Oh, now you.
Sorry, I ain't mean to separate this. I ain't
How the
mean
fuck
to
you say that, dude?
I was trying to pick on nobody.
Now you're offended this thing.
You know.
Sorry, Greg.
But yeah, like so they're kind of different in that sense. So they were like they had their relationship, dated for a while, they moved in together, had a kid, and got married. So they did things a little different. So coming up from them, like I didn't really get that pressure. I mean, they wanted me, since they did it that way, they wanted me to try to, hey, you want to, like, if you're gonna move in with your girl, then you got, what's your timeline for putting a ring on it? So they did like bring that to forefront because that's how they were raised. That you that should be a thing. Like you should be engaged before you move in, at least before you move in with somebody. But the issue came in because obviously it's not just your parents, it's your girl's parents as well. And so her parents are very traditional. Very traditional. They got married first. Then they had their kids, and then they got married first, and they lived together, and then they had their kids. So very in order, typical situation. We're not knocking it all. And so when you have two people that come from different perspectives, like we're reaching a crossroad where I'm coming up at the end of my lease in my apartment, and she's looking to get a house. Like,
you
hey,
sure were in your lease, weren't you?
yeah, sure was.
Asshole.
I'm really DW over here as my lawyer roommate for 2 years, man. Good 2 years, but. Like once that was ended, we kind of had to make a decision. Are we going to move in together? Like, what's the timeline for this ring? Like, there was obviously pressure on that from her parents, not directly, but it can be felt. Like, you know what type of traditional parents.
So you had to have that come to
Jesus
conversation.
You know the situation was.
Yeah.
So for me and my girl, that was a tough crossroads because she's expecting a certain thing, a certain timeline. We've been dating for some time, a good amount of time. I don't want to disclose all that. But like where the ring would come forward, and so like I think in this new age and this new era where a lot of us are like in more debt than our parents ever were coming out. Like we went to college, we have loans out the ass, we have different things, and honestly, I think we just grow through different stages of life in a faster way than our parents did, or in a different way than our parents did. Yeah, we had to.
We don't have a choice, right?
Yeah.
It's not.
Go ahead.
Off, but I mean, you got more, but that's what I'm like. It's because my situation is like my situation was financial, like
right, and that's
like, and you know we can bring up the money aspect to it because I mean like shit, man, like that's a business decision for one. So specifically, I met my girlfriend in my freshman year of college. And for a variety of reasons, one, I went to one of the most expensive colleges in America. Like if you just add everything up, room and board, all that, it might be in the top 5. You know? So I mean, that's just is what it is. So one, I didn't want to live in campus housing my second year, and my girlfriend, so when I met her, she was a sophomore, and she had financial hardships where she had to drop out of school. So really, when it came to that summer 2012, it was either we move in together or she's going back to Delaware, and I don't know what's going to happen after that. Right. And I mean, honestly, like full disclosure, like I've had a lot of great experiences at Drexel. I met a lot of great people, but like I didn't have like too many, like at that time, I didn't have too many just guy friends that I had that I could just move in with. A lot of my friends were girls, and so like I mean I couldn't move in with them. Like so.
I just crushed your life.
See, I could.
But
yeah, you could. It'd just be a weird explanation process.
So yeah, so me and my girlfriend made a decision to move in together, and it was hard to convince my mom. I made a PowerPoint. My mom laughed at my PowerPoint.
You made a PowerPoint?
Yes, I made a PowerPoint.
What is that? This is
you was shaking like shit.
I made a PowerPoint.
Aaron, the laser point is on the screen, baby.
I think you pointed in my eye.
Nah, but I feel you though.
I made a PowerPoint and Excel spreadsheet. Me and mom got in an argument about it, and we didn't talk. So like, and that was a problem for a while. And eventually, my mom came around to what it was, and then I had to talk to Sinead's parents because like I mean we'd only been dating not too long, and we want to move in together. And my girlfriend's stepdad is very traditional. Like when we moved into that first apartment in Philly, literally we moved in, and then they were about to leave, and he was like, "Oh hey Eric, come over here. I want to help you out with something." He wasn't disrespectful in any way, and he had his brother with him too.
This is scary.
Was his brother there too?
Yeah,
it's intimidating.
If you've ever seen my girlfriend's stepdad, he looks just like Ben Reigns from Baby Boy. So like,
very nice man.
And he just laid out, just ain't no bullshit. I'm gonna come up here, dead ass. So that's what it was. And we lived together ever since, right? I mean,
Well,
I think no, we
solid,
took 1 year apart where she moved in with a roommate. I think like my pre-junior year, and I moved in with my friend Zach. But that was more so again. It was just like because it was fine the first year, like and one of the things is you learn to live with somebody. Like one of the things with me is I kind of grew up an only child for most of my life, so like. I didn't have a problem. I didn't have like a problem with living together, but we argued a lot. And I mean, we never really like argue, but like the most we ever argued was that first year, and we just decided maybe we could try just to live separately. So we lived separately, whatever. Ended up moving back in before I graduated, and then after I graduated, my mom was like, "Oh yeah, you think about just coming home for a little while?" Listen, I love my mom to death, but like I can't live with my mom. I just can't do it. So
Told you don't call me.
So,
Make
like-
sure you got the Tostitos in the fucking oven now.
You made another PowerPoint just showing why he wasn't coming
Oh
home.
shit! These are all the reasons why I can't live with you, mom. Like I'm sorry. So basically, my point is, there's just like there's a variety. There's money. There's just the way you get along with people. Like all that comes into play, and at the end of the day, I get along with my girlfriend. I enjoy living with her. Like we get into shit, but like I enjoy living with her.
And that reminded me, that financial situation is kind of like what ultimately drew us in, because it is expensive out to find like places to live out here. Like the rent alone, like it's crazy.
Like it's the thing, like I mean, you don't want to live home,
Right.
but you can live home without paying rent. I mean, for most cases, your parents
Right.
let you. That'd be good, but you want to have your own financial
Right,
freedom.
you want to be in your own space, especially
But-
coming out of college.
But shit, man, like you living on your own, and you can talk to that.
So, alright, that's a good segue.
Yeah.
For my situation, so I'm gonna start from the beginning. Me and my girl, we've been together, for quite some time, on and off. But my first time moving out of my mom's house was I moved straight in with my significant other, my girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta imagine, that was a shell shock for me myself.
Yeah, man.
Just for one, like Aaron, I'm an only child, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not used to sharing, you know what I'm saying? I'm an only child, I have a younger brother, but,
Shout out to your little brother too.
shout out to my little brother Ian, you know what I'm saying? But, we didn't live together, so, at that point throughout my life, I really never had to share a space with somebody, it was my mom and the dog, like, you know what I'm saying? If I wanted to be separate, just go in my room. So, my first spot, I moved out to Laurel, we moved in together, and, definitely was some challenges between that, living with somebody different, in that space. And at that time, I was working, really becoming I guess a man in that regard, and, I look back on it, I don't take it for granted because it was part of my development as a man, but at the same time, if I would do it over again, I would live by myself for the first year. And that brings me to my next point is that, I expressed that to my significant other. And for the people that are listening, it's not always, roses and glitter.
It's having a tough conversation.
Having that tough conversation. And that was one that I had. And, if anything you would learn from me is that you just gotta just be true to yourself and just have that conversation. Like, I came up to her and, I was just like, hey man, like, I expressed, that, I think that we kind of moved a little too fast with moving in together. And, I feel like, I want to kind of get my own spot. Right. And, and Hollywood movies, the girl's always happy. You're like, okay, it's cool, fine. It didn't work that way. So, it wasn't easy. And,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, at that time, I moved to the harbor, kind of lived, I guess, the prototypical bachelor life. It was great. But at the same time, like, I guess it's kind of, you got to go through those moments living by yourself too. Like, I enjoyed that time alone.
Right.
And I enjoyed that, that growth between myself and just really just learning how to just be on my own. Like, there's no one providing for me. Like, I had to get it for myself, and go to work and all that type of stuff. But to say that, like, when you move from having your own spot and then choosing to move with somebody, like, that's the key. You don't, like you want to move in with somebody willingly, not because of a financial situation. Mm-hmm. Like, it's great, but you got to move in for the right reasons. Like, if you're willing to give up your freedom, not freedom, but like your own like space, because it's comfortable. Like, it's great living alone by yourself. I mean, financially, it's not a struggle, but it sucks because of this economy.
You're gonna stretch out more.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, like, if you can make that conscious decision to say, hey man, I'd rather give up all this space, my own space, to move in with you, like, that's love. Like that's where that, if you can make that decision, like I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm saying that it's,
And sometimes it can work out.
You know, and it can work out, you know what I'm saying? But
like sometimes y'all just mesh perfectly.
I'll be real.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll be real. Like, I mean, I can't sit here and say that I don't have time. Well, not necessarily now, but like there's times where I was like, damn man, like it would be cool if I could just experience living by myself, you know, living that life. That would be cool. I mean, again, we took that year where we lived in separate places, but I still live with roommates though. So I mean, I wasn't by myself per se.
Right.
So like I would, you know, there's something about like, oh yeah, what would it be like to, you know, live by yourself? But I mean, again, like finances play a part, but it's just like you gotta make sure it's the right situation, because I feel like, you know, me and my girlfriend, like we vibe and like we understand. Like again, we might have had some arguments at first. We don't argue at all now. Like, and again, it also takes time. Again, we're 8 years into this, so we understand. I know how she is. She doesn't clean. She's not clean. Like, look, I'm the cleaner. I'm the cleaner. I cook. I take the trash out. She's kind of. She kind of just go to.
That's a movie.
Like, man,
So
what
you
the
do everything.
fuck she do then?
You gotta square up with this thing.
Hey, bonus content. Bonus content to see the fight.
Go to Patreon
Patreon to see the fight.
I feel you though, and even outside of that, for me, like I know one thing before living with my girl, and this was a decision when I moved in with Ruli over here. I was like, I want to learn what it's like to kind of live on my own too. As a man, you want to learn. Me personally, I didn't want to come into a situation with a girl because I know that can make or break some relationships. Like you living together, you're not managing your bills properly, finances are an issue. I wanted to learn how to manage my finances, manage my time, manage the schedule, and kind of up my responsibility, especially coming out of my parents' house, and take care of stuff. So that ultimately, that was a difficult conversation, and we had been dating for a few years at that point. So to tell her like, hey, I advise you to do the same, get a roommate, like, and she didn't want to get a roommate at the time, but I just wanted to experience it on my own. I was in school, I didn't want to do anything extra. I didn't want to go through any new stage or phase, but just kind of learning to live on my own. I think that's a valuable time.
And I get what you're saying, because like again, like that's a big step. Because I don't think there's like, well, I guess you kind of disproved that, but like I think it's hard to go backwards. Like once you move in, I feel like it's hard to put like the genie back in the bottle once you move in.
Oh man,
yeah,
I'm telling you right now, it's not easy, bro. It's like. It was an uphill battle. I mean, shit, y'all was there every step of the way with me. You know what I mean? Like, y'all know. You know what I mean? Like, it was tough, but it had to be done because at the end of the day, like, you know, not to sound selfish, but you know, like, if it's not like, who are you hurting? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, are you hurting yourself or you hurting the other person? Like, if you can't really be truly happy in your situation, you kind of. You gotta brave it. You gotta be. I mean, I had to say it. Like I don't want to be. I don't want to be sexist, but you gotta be a man or be a bigger person and just take the path of most resistance. Like you gotta just go.
Because you gotta think with relationships and when you living with somebody, it's long term. Like when you marry, it's supposed to be long term. It's supposed to be forever. All that good stuff. So you want to make sure that you're good. You want to make sure that you're ready to make that next step. And sometimes guys, we're a little slower than girls in our development process, and we admit that. You know what I'm saying? But
honestly, and again, like it's going. So basically, anybody out there, like, it's gonna be tough, man. You're gonna argue and all that, and like, I'm sorry, it might not work out that first time, right? You know what I mean? But like, shit, man. I feel like I learned a lot about myself, like living with my girlfriend, and
I think
you learn a lot how to be a man, like in a man, like a
provider sense.
In a provider sense,
like
and all that. And like maybe not the right word, but I think you can get where I'm going. You just learn a lot about yourself.
You gotta go through it though. Yeah. Like I mean. So we talked about traditional, we talked about non-traditional, right? I'm a just big proponent on, now that I've gone through it and we've kind of gone through it in a way, like I'm really proponent on non-traditional. In a way, like I feel like unless if you've never gone through it with that significant other, then you got to do it. Like, but if you've gone through it and you've tasted it and you know how it goes, you can make that conscious decision and say, okay, hey, like you can have that conversation with significant other, be like, hey, I went through this. It didn't work out in this situation. I kind of want to try something different. Like maybe we shouldn't maybe we shouldn't live together, and maybe we should, push that back. But I feel like if you haven't gone through it, and if somebody that's listening feels like you know, they're like close and they feel like that's in a relationship, I feel like you should just do it. Like you
man,
you be
you do it.
non-traditional.
Just,
You just go through it because you know what I'm saying, like you don't know, like that might be the one.
And
like,
another thing too, like, and I'm gonna get you unrelated because I know, like, you
about to
have-
drop a whole perspective that y'all ain't never
But like my
seen.
thing is too, like, man, it's swaying. And I'm not gonna tell people. If you have your beliefs, that's fine. That's totally fine.
Yeah,
but
nobody's not
like,
right,
don't let nobody put you in a box and say, "Oh, you're not married, so you can't do it." If it makes sense for you and you love your girlfriend, or you love your
if
boyfriend,
you know what it is,
and y'all good,
Right.
like. Do it, man. Like, ain't nothing gonna happen to you guys if you guys move. If you do, like, and if that's just your values, that's fine.
That's
but,
and the pressure is real, and hopefully, really, you can kind of speak into this from like the outside looking in. The pressure is crazy. Like for somebody like who's kind of weighing whether to move in, should they do things the right? Because it's like we were saying before, it's expensive. Like it's expensive to live on your own. It's also expensive for these engagement rings. Like let's be real. Not everybody's like kind of can afford to kind of jump right there. They wanna save up. They want to do things the right way. But at the same time. You love your girlfriend, you're ready to make the next step, but you can't always afford, not saying this is my situation, but you can't always afford like the ring or to get that, to do things in order the traditional way. So I think being more open-minded is key, but Dante, if you speak to some of like the pressures that you
talk about your situation.
Oh, okay, so fun fact for everybody who doesn't know, I'm the one here that doesn't live with their girlfriend, so
Fun fact.
the fun fact here, yeah. So after me and Clark, after our lease ran out, I ended up going back home. So right now, I'm just doing one of those things, you know, you still with your parents, but like Aaron said earlier, I'm not paying any rent. So it's like, you know, basically I can save up some money right now and all those other good things. But yeah, so for me, it's like one of those things where I see all y'all talking that type of stuff. I feel like you were talking to me just then when you said, if you've never done it before, just do it. Just jump in. I feel like you were talking to me. I don't know if you're not that you telling me what to do, but I feel like
I said
Everybody would be working.
anybody listen, I'm like, I'm listening to you right here.
You have your own unique
situation.
So
that's what I'm saying. Everybody's situation.
Everybody got different situations, but I mean, for me, I've always been one of them type of people where I'm pretty amenable and I do like, you know, I try to please others, but I am one of those people where it's like, yo, if I don't want to do something, I put my feet down. I'm just not doing it. Right. Like, that's just what it is. What it is.
How long you been with your girlfriend?
You don't gotta say.
You can say it's been a while. It's been a while.
No, it's been a while. I can give you that. I can give you that.
I'll give
you the year just to add context because you know it's fine. It is what it is. This is one of the things where we think we've been together like 4 years. Yeah, like so the year after I got out of college. Like,
4 years?
Yeah, 2016.
Oh,
This is
bro,
that's why we're old. Yeah, so. No, it's one of those things where basically, you know, looking in at y'all and all y'all situation, it is like, you know, I get probably more pressure than it. Only person that was probably get more pressure than me was probably Darian at a certain point, just because it was like, you know, me and him was the only ones like we living together. We ain't with our girls, you know.
That was
so
a good
it's
time.
one of those things, we just, you know,
We had to break up the band.
I'm about to say we got the bachelor pad. We over here, not like we doing super wild stuff, but you know, we got our own spot and all that type of stuff, you know. So it's what it is. But then it's like, you know, everybody else, your girl looking at all these other people over here and they making moves, they doing things, and then you're like, I don't know, maybe then somebody get a ring one day, you know, not God forbid, you know, be happy out in these streets, but you know, somebody get a ring puts even more pressure on you. Like for me, it's kind of like, you know, there's a foot on my neck, basically, like all the time. Not like my girl's like every time we text, it's like, you know, oh, we moving in together, but it's like, yeah, there is like realistic pressure that you can feel, and you know, every time you have a conversation, be like, well, what are your real intentions then if you don't want to move in with nobody and then I'm not engaged either? Like, you know, it's my girlfriend. That's the key word there. I ain't say it's my fiance or anything. It's my girlfriend. So clearly I haven't taken a step towards that. So then it becomes one of those things where it gets asked about your intentions or what you want to do in life and all those other type of things. And I know for me, like my reasoning behind that was like, it's a multitude of things for me. You know, my parents are traditional because, you know, they got engaged, got married, you know, got a house, had children. They did everything the right way, and I know they want me to do things the right way. That's the right way. Yeah. I mean, look, for me,
traditional way.
Yeah, fair. I'm not trying to say I don't want that to sound like I'm judging anybody. I don't have any type of judgment of people who live with their significant other before they're married or engaged or any of that type of stuff. I don't care. For me, I always knew, like, you know, I guess on a certain level, it was like, I want to really be sure about anything that I'm doing before I put my name on a piece of paper with yours. If it ends up being any type of business matter or legal matter, I want to make sure that I'm really sure of this because, you know, like, I can go to Wendy's, I can go to Wendy's, get the wrong sandwich and I can fix that. I can't really fix me and you moving in together as
And
easily.
you got that lease, bro.
It's like breaking
you gotta
that
pay
lease is
2 or
expensive.
3 months rent to break. Yeah, listen.
Yeah, no, and I'm about to say it, like just doing that type of stuff. Like that's why for me, I always wanted to be sure. Like, yo, if I'm going to move in with you, then basically I'm planning like the whole life out here. Then it's like, yo, I'm gonna get married, all this other type of stuff, yada yada yada, and schmacking. And so it's just one of those things for me where it's like that's why I take my time with that decision. And even though it's pressure on me because everybody else is doing it, always make sure I stand firm in my own belief. And it's just like, yo, I try to just make sure it's like, I care about you and I want you to know I care about you. But if it is something I'm not going to do right now, then just know I'm not going to buckle and just do it just to do it. Because, yeah, I can clearly see that the best way to save money and not have to be under anybody's roof, you date somebody, you live with them, get you like a 1-bedroom apartment, you could like save up some money. Right. It's a good scheme. No offense, it's a good scheme right there. Like that's how you do it. That's the best. That is the most logical way to save money, just based off the way that things work in our area. We're near DC, everything's expensive over here, so it just is what it is. But it's just like from my perspective, it's just like if everybody around you start to do stuff, you really do just have to examine yourself and make sure that the reasons that you're doing something different is, it's good. You have the right intentions, and not just you don't want to be like, oh, I'm trying to break the trend. I don't want to be like everybody else. I don't want to buckle. You want to make sure you have your reasons down and just make sure that you're able to explain these things. And that's the biggest thing for me. I know explaining it doesn't always work for me. I know sometimes, not to like stereotype women, but sometimes people just get mad at you. You can explain how you want to explain it. It doesn't always come out with them. Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. But you just always want to make sure that you have your reasons and that you explain it and you're like, yo, look, I do care about you. This is a serious relationship, but it's just like, I'm gonna take my time on the decision just because I do value that type of thing so much to the point where it's like, yo, if we make this decision, I want to be sure we make it for the right reason because I already know, number one, I'm gonna have a long, lengthy conversation with my parents. I don't really like having those type of conversation. Yeah, I'm about to say
it better be worth it.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. That's why I'm like, yo, if we gonna do this, I really want to be sure that we doing this because I don't want to have to go back to my parents in like 6 months with my tail in between my legs like a damn dog.
Can you loan me 3 months rent, Mom, so I can?
Hey, bro, what you need it for? I need to
lay on your couch.
Or like, yo, Dad, I know you made that man cave upstairs, but you still got room for me, though, right?
I think what you said was really important about standing firm in what you believe in, because you're gonna have pressures from everybody outside. And I think one thing that's important to convey, especially when you're not going the traditional route, and especially if your girlfriend or significant other was raised going to traditional route, like standing firm, but also communicate that, hey, like it's not like anything about you, like it's all love, like I love you, I want to be with you, Absolutely. I want to like move forward in this process, but like it's whatever, if it's finances, if it's like you want to make sure things are straight internally, if you want to finish school, like it's a multitude of reasons, but make sure you stand firm, but also communicate that it's all love at the end of the day. You got to do what's best for you, and any reasonable I shouldn't say that. Not everybody's gonna understand it right away, but just standing firm and that honesty, that openness, and where you're at. Yeah, people will appreciate it in the long run, and that helps build long-term relationships because you laid that all out in the foundation. It's no like misunderstandings. You're not jumping into a situation because of pressure, and then years later it reveals that you guys weren't really compatible. Like you don't want that situation. So making sure your foundation was straight, regardless of what it is.
You gotta lay it all out there, right? Because at the end of the day, like. If you lay it all out there, you can live with yourself better than, you know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm about to say. That's my brief thought. It was like, yo, even outside of like having her or, whoever you're dating, outside of that, them respected, you'll be able to respect yourself for the fact that, you stood on what you were supposed to do. You was 10 toes down in your beliefs. Sometimes it may not work out for you the way you wanted to, but that's a part of life. But at least you can say, hey, this is what I believe, I did what I believe, and even if it doesn't go the way you want it to go, you learn, and that can help you, in your next go around, your next relationship, and all that type of stuff. It's all learning.
That's what I say about relationships in general. It's just like even if you move in, it doesn't work out, or you just break up, whatever. It's all a learning experience, and this is part of life.
Cassie and Diddy, man, it was together for like 10 years.
She left him and she got happy.
Didn't even want to have kids.
A year later, she found out the love of her life. Cause she was 10 times down. She kept it real.
That's how it be, bro. So everything goes stages. You just make sure you do what's best for you. Make your best moves. At the end of the day, it'll work out for you. Like the whole moving thing, this is very important. And you just see people doing it today. Yeah, it's a financial decision. Yeah, it's a love decision. It's like a concoction of a whole bunch of different things all put together. It's like one big old gumbo, basically, when you're making, gumbo, I use the southern term right there. But anyway, when you're trying to make your decision right.
Southern gents.
Shout out to
Pinky out.
LSU. But yeah, so you try to make that decision. It's all like one. Go Tigers. Go. Anyway, go Tigers. Oh, God, we getting off. But yeah, so it's all one big combination of things. But at the end of the day, when you're making that decision, you just got to make sure that you're doing what's best for you and that you're going to be happy with it. You know, and if you're moving with your significant other, enjoy the ride. You know, you learn a lot. As they all said, they've all grown from the experience. So, you know, you're going to learn stuff about each other. You're going to learn stuff about
bro.
you.
It's going to be alright.
Stand firm, bro. Stand firm. It's pressures coming from everywhere, especially in this social media time we in.
Oh my God.
You see, like, even if you have, like you said, you see your friends doing something, you're going to be like, where's this for me? Or what have you done? Why are you not doing this for me? And we're in a comparing age. That's a whole nother
Yeah, that's another convo about comparison.
Keep watching.
We might talk about that next week when we do the mental health debate, because that's a slide on. But just in general, man, just like, I don't know, I just feel like, you know, like the conversation we're having is, and again, like, I don't want to sit there and judge, but like the traditional method of, you know, getting married then moving in, I just feel like, dude, that's just such a big step. Like, to never live with somebody, then you get married. No, we're moving in one day. You just learn so much about not just your person, but yourself, but like how you react to just like stuff. Just like how you can react to something as simple as, oh, yo, you mind getting the dishes tonight, and then the dishes don't get done. And how do you react to that, right? Do you get just pissed off, like, oh my God, like, you know, like, oh, like, you didn't do the dishes, or he's like, oh, it's not a big deal, whatever, I'll get the dishes. Like, just simple things. You see how you like interact with people and how you take it, because like, it's not easy living with other people. Like, and, you know, especially somebody like me, who I'm an introvert by nature. Honestly, I prefer to spend my time just alone, just in general. Like, I mean, I like hanging out with you guys, but honestly, I'm totally fine.
Be like that sometimes.
Like, realistically, Sinead's the only person that I could probably tolerate just living with. Like, I don't know.
He actively hates going on vacation with
I
us.
mean, I don't hate going on vacation.
That's like day two.
It's just after 2-3 days, it's just like, God, you know, that's just me.
Pick up your sock, Dante. Damn it.
How long we going with that for? Like 3 days now? 4 days?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you learn about yourself and just what it is. Like, when I moved so I lived with Sinead, and then moved in with my roommates, and then I just realized, like, oh, wow, I'm living with these new people. They don't clean up the sink behind them. They don't take the trash out.
How many?
And it's hard to have a conversation.
Like 3 people,
There's
right?
3 of them, yeah.
You live with all that too, so you know that's.
And it's hard to have that conversation, because it's easy to have a conversation with somebody as your girlfriend or somebody as your boyfriend. Like, oh, like, you know.
Do you mind, you know?
Right, exactly. So, you know. My thing is just like
that's the easy one.
It's not for everybody. But you know, I guess shit, man. If you're gonna be in a relationship with somebody, at some point you are gonna move in with them, right?
That'll be the goal.
That'd be the goal.
If you're in a relationship, that'll be the goal. Well, I'll say this: if you're like a religious person, to be fair, moving in with somebody without, you know, getting married to somebody without ever having to move in with them, that is the ultimate test of faith right there that you really need to go over. That's what that is. That's a leap of faith. The ultimate test of faith, because you have no idea of what they do or anything, and you really going to
just said the same
thing. No, because it's real.
That is real, bro. Like, you know, I'm not about to say that. That's why I'm not like gung ho on that whole concept. But I will say, if you're like a person of faith, that is like the ultimate test right there, where it's like, yo, look, man, we gonna get married, we gonna work this out the rest of our lives. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, I get my parents credit for making that work.
Right.
And that's not saying it's a bad, because it has worked.
Not to say that it's never worked, but it's just like, yo, you really moved in together and you ain't like ever lived together. Like, y'all was okay with this. Like, you ain't decide, yo, you are a slob. What is wrong with you?
You don't pay your bills on time.
I'm about to say,
it's so many layers to that shit.
Yeah, that's why it's just amazing to think about.
Yeah. Just real quick though, like to close, I don't know how much time we got left, but like, what are some like tips to somebody like kind of like about to make those first steps, about to move into somebody? Like, I wanted us to each kind of like give that. I'll start and say, like, one of the biggest things that you kind of spoke on that's worked for me and my girlfriend is having our own little private spaces, because even introverted or extroverted, whatever, like, I think it's important, like, to have your quote unquote man cave, to have your she shed, quote unquote, or whatever, like that.
Wait, that's
have
the
your
term for women?
I think
Burn down my she shed.
Oh, that's what that commercial means.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So having your private space that you can sometimes like kind of like go to, and like when you need a moment for you, like
that first argument you have. It's interesting because you just
where you gonna go?
Like where do you go?
Where do you go? Usually you go home, but you already home.
Usually you hang up that phone. We ain't got to talk no more tonight.
Y'all got to sleep in the same bed, so recognize like.
I'm say, bro.
Well, you may not get to sleep in the same bed.
That first year, me and I slept on the couch a couple nights. So
sometimes you gotta step back.
That couch don't bounce back either. Your back gonna be hurting.
The couch don't bounce back.
The couch don't help.
The couch don't love you, nigga.
That's a good point.
You can be the big spoon.
Everybody get one tip. So that's yours.
Yeah, that's mine.
Not just like before you do it, just make a list of pros and cons, right?
Oh yeah,
just
like classic list.
Oh, if I do this, all this in my life improves, and then if I do this, I might have to adjust to X, Y, Z. Yeah, right. Like, I'll get the financial benefit. It cuts, the rent expense I would have in half, whatever. Great, but here, wow, well. I love my girlfriend or my boyfriend, but we do have our big arguments sometimes. And when you live with them, I mean, you can get away from them to a point. You can go in another room, but you still want to see them. Or my boyfriend's kind of a slob, and I'm a clean freak, and that drives me crazy. Pros and cons, you know what I mean? Like, in the fact that I make, and this is something like. There was a time where I was bringing more money in, significantly more money than my girlfriend was, and like, and that, and then you gotta sit there and make a, like a ratio of what bills, who pays what bills, what percent of the rent you want to hit, and if this person can only contribute 30% to the rent, you gotta have 70%. Can you afford that 70% and be good and be able to pay for groceries and pay for the electric bill and all that? You gotta, get it. And, luckily we're in a good spot now where we basically, we're in a good spot. We both make really good money, so we're good. But that's not everybody's scenario. So make sure that it makes sense for you and pros and it's not, don't make it, like the reason shouldn't be, if we live together, it means we get to have sex all the time, all that. Because let me tell you something about that.
Oh my God. That's a whole other episode.
Goddamn.
I say you're feeling too much. I gotta pay for this shit. Y'all gotta pay for this shit.
Something gotta go on the Patreon.
Patreon, OnlyFans.
Because let me tell you something. When you live,
that's actually OnlyFans.
When you see somebody every day and like, cause like it's one thing when y'all just come over, like, I can't wait to see her. Well, y'all niggas living together every day. I'm gonna tell you something.
With the morning breath.
The sex slows down, man. It's just natural. You just see the person every day, right? I'm tired.
Also, somebody gotta decide who's gonna be the big spoon or little spoon.
That too, right?
Each night. Who's gonna be little spoon? Sometimes you gotta be.
And when you're mad at somebody,
no, I know exactly what it is.
And we gotta be little spoon.
And if you don't have a big argument, but you have a minor argument, and y'all gotta sleep together, y'all got your back through, like it's all types of shit, man. Like it is not. But just pros and cons. Make sure it's right for you. Right? Don't make a rash decision. Don't think, we get to fuck every day. We get to do whatever. There's a lot that goes into it.
I love her. Even that.
Exactly.
I love her. Everything's
exactly.
good. But sometimes
it's a necessary
sometimes
step,
things change.
but make sure it's a step. It's like having a kid. Like, it just in terms of, like, the magnitude of it. So,
it's a major milestone. For sure.
For me, if somebody Wayne did it, brutal honesty. Just be completely 100% honest with
From that perspective, that's critical. That's critical. I think your stand firm was.
About to say.
Don't bend. Don't bend your spine. Don't bend your spine to make somebody feel good.
It's okay to tell somebody the truth and just be like, yo, I'm not ready. And it's just part of
being honest.
Okay. And if you are ready, make sure you're honest and just explain yourself and just make sure that you just tell somebody the truth. Because that's the same thing I would want from somebody else. If I was like really, really hard on something and I really, really wanted it, I want somebody to tell me the truth and just explain it to the best of their ability rather than just sit there and just go with me.
Right.
So just make sure that you definitely always, just be brutally honest, tell the truth about these type of things. Even if you gotta work, you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but you just gotta make sure that you stand on you 10 toes down, all right? At all times.
10 toes down so bad.
Be 10 toes down. Exactly.
Get it out the mud.
You're right. All right, go ahead.
I'll say my tip kind of goes along with Darius, but I'll say probably like 9 out of 10 times the first time you move in, somebody's gonna be in an apartment. And you're not gonna be able to have a man cave in an apartment. I'm just gonna be 100%.
That's why you get dibs on that living room, nigga.
So with that pro tip, is you gotta set designated time. Well, hey man, this is Call of Duty time, or this is my movie time. Huh?
That's good.
Yeah, this is time. You know what I'm saying? But hey, I know you like watching
This nigga
scary
sleep 95% of the time. That's his
That's the
designated
part when
time.
I'm
Okay, cool, whatever.
You know, messing with you. Go
You're
ahead.
a big narcoleptic, you know, go sleep. This is my coughing time, whatever.
Don't
You know
touch
what I'm
my
saying?
coffin,
Don't touch
man.
my coffin. But, you know what I'm saying, like, have that time where, you know what I'm saying, with your significant other, like, hey, this is, you know, she likes watching Netflix or she wants to chill. Like, hey, at 8:30, boo, we gonna go
My
watch a
shit
movie,
come
but
on.
right now it's 5:30. Let me get my gaming on for like 2-3 hours, and I'll be right there. So then, that's, you know, everybody has
That's
a
good
clear.
shit. Yeah.
You got clear, you know, understanding
That's
what's
good.
going on. Have a date night, you know, make sure date night is essential. You gotta have a date night, and you know, just something to look forward to, and just have a clear communication. So you know, because at the end of the day, we want to do our own shit. They want to do their own shit, and but we gotta make time for our own.
This
You know,
man
together.
Malik said, let me get my kill streak and let this white kid call me
For
nigger
sure,
for
for
5
sure,
minutes,
for
for a
sure.
couple hours, and you don't leave me out.
and then I'm there. You know what I'm saying? Call me. But yeah, so that'd be my pro tip.
One thing that all of us kind of, I think, kind of stated a little bit was communication.
We had 10
is
toes
key.
down.
10 toes down and
Out the
communication
mud.
is key.
Get out the
being
mud.
open, being clear with
Yeah,
your
communication,
schedule,
yeah, absolutely.
open with your
Communicate.
feelings,
Communicate.
open what you don't like, what you
Yeah,
do
absolutely.
like, and
Get out
just
the mud.
say you need your space sometimes. Like, you gotta, not within the house, not like,
Clarity is key.
I'm about to say
Clarity is key. That's the next episode. Clarity is key.
Clarity is key. Clarity is key.
All right, bring it in for Atlanta, big boy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that was a pretty good episode. I'm just hope, you know, we could help somebody out there, maybe who's having, you know, just on the fence about
On that dilemma.
or,
You helped me.
or I'm glad, and you know, just a little bit. If people have experienced, somebody who's going through the experience of deciding if they want that experience, like I feel like we cover all bases here. So this has been episode 39. I hope you guys like the new format. This is kind of what we're gonna do. Just pick like one topic and just go in. And I felt we gave you like 40 minutes of gems right there. I really enjoyed this. Good job, lads. So next week, I think, what are we talking? We're talking mental health next
They
week.
gotta stay tuned.
I was gonna say it because I'm excited.
Don't give them too much.
I'm excited. I'm sorry. We have a lot of
Too
good
much.
shit planned.
lined up.
Ready
We'll
or
drop
not.
some
We got a
previews.
lot of
Ready
good
or not.
stuff planned. I'm so excited right now.
Don't give them too much.
My creative juices are flowing.
You're
I've said it twice.
My juices are like all over.
All
I
right,
can't show my juices.
That's your man. Shut up, Cole.
Your man's Unruly DW.
Hey, it's your boy, they be geeking elite.
It's your boy Darian, aka Clark Kent, and these are the Hentations. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you follow us on
Lots of
Twitter.
YouTube content coming soon.
Hentations. Everywhere.
OnlyFans.com/temptation. Oh, no.
Is it at underscore
Not yet.
Hentations or?
We're not there.
It's at Hentations.
He's talking about OnlyFans. Stop talking about
Oh, my man, throwing me off. My man's trying to get the name of the
I'm
account.
sorry.
At Hentations, look it up.
But yeah, lots of good YouTube content coming. We have plans and ideas, so please support us, and thank you everybody for
Love us.
listening.
Stay tuned.
DW.
Damn, that's smooth.